More on this, Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters, Fox News strategic analyst. Good to see you, sir.
Hey, Leland, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. A few days away. New Year, almost unprecedented new kind of developments between Israel and the United States. We knew that Benjamin Netanyahu and the Obama administration didn't really like each other. We knew that President Obama and Mr. Netanyahu sort of had this personal animosity towards each other. But do you ever expect it to be laid out like this?
I didn't expect it, but I'm not that surprised by it. Because, Leland, and you have a lot of experience in the Middle East, you know, this goes beyond the personal animosity between Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Obama. This Kerry's tirade was the logical culmination of Obama's Cairo speech, the infamous Cairo speech from early in his first administration. Obama's been very consistent on this. Now, he had to restrain his disdain for Israel because he had to win re-election and he had to get through the 2016 election, which didn't work out very well for the Democrats. But nonetheless, Obama consistently has, and I put it in just 6 words, his Middle East policy, 6 words: praise Muslims, ignore Christians, blame Jews. He comes from a background, literally from the cradle up, in which Israel is a villain. In the hard left, in which he spent most of his life, I mean, he's much more dogmatic than people realize. And the hard left insists that Israel is an oppressor and the Palestinians are noble freedom fighters. Then you have the side of Obama that comes from the Reverend Wright's church, where anti-Semitism is a strong thread. So without overstating it, I think all this was predictable, and Obama has been unchallenged by the facts.
Colonel, I get the argument, but there's an argument that at least we need to talk about, which is the administration's argument, which says, look, this administration's given $38 billion to Israel, more than any other administration. That's a fact. And Secretary Kerry's argument went yesterday. He says, look, he said, essentially, Israel's settlement building harms American interest, and that's a debatable point. Therefore, as the Secretary of State, we have to protect American interests by calling out even a friend for doing something that harms us. Are Israeli settlements not in the interest of the United States? Is it as big of an issue as they'd like you to believe?
Well, it's an issue, and it's an important issue, but it's not as big as they're insisting. And the fact is this, that I don't approve of everything Israel does. I don't approve of everything the United States does. But we have to keep perspective. Israel is an island of civilization in a sea of barbarism. Israel is not only the only democracy, it's the only place in the Middle East where women have equal rights, where there's real education, where there's religious freedom, where there's hard-won prosperity. It's part of our civilization. And the Palestinians have had chance after chance from 1948 through 56, 67, 73, and again and again and again, it has been Palestinian intransigence that has prevented a two-state solution. And now, frankly, Leland, I don't think there's going to be a two-state solution or a three-state solution. I think because of the pandering to the terrorists, all you're going to see is a continued muddling through.
Well, we've often seen at the time that Israel makes those major concessions, whether it be with Egypt, whether it be with Jordan, and makes peace and sits down, whether it be with what they offered the Palestinians at the end of the Clinton administration. It was at the time when they felt like they had the most safety and security in a friend in the United States, not when you had somebody pushing back on them. Zoom out for me, though, here, and we've talked about this before, that we're sort of in uncharted territories. We have a Democratic administration abandoning Israel, our closest ally in the Middle East. We have a Republican administration that is incoming that's now cozying up, really, to Vladimir Putin and the Russians. President-elect Trump saying this about Russian hacking.
I think we ought to get on with our lives. I think that computers have complicated lives very greatly. The whole age of computer has made it where nobody knows exactly what's going on.
Knowing you got to feel like you're in the twilight zone.
Yeah, I do, because we do know, without doubt, not only that the Russians did it, we know which Russians did it, which desks they were sitting at. And, President Trump, he's got a lot of good initiatives going. I'm rooting for him. He's our president. He's going to be our president. But he's got to decide whether he's going to defend America or defend Vladimir Putin. He can't go on cozying up to and making excuses for Vladimir Putin, who hates America viscerally and is our enemy, not because we choose Putin as an enemy.
Why do you think that? Do you think that President-elect Trump doesn't see that, doesn't care, thinks he can make a friend out of Vladimir Putin? Where is this disconnect between folks like you and the President-elect on Russia?
Well, I think the basic disconnect is that President Trump has not been interested in foreign policy, except when it has to do with business affairs. He doesn't have a background in it. And he doesn't understand the long history of Russia. He doesn't know Russians. And he certainly doesn't know Vladimir Putin. And Leland, my concern is simply this. Vladimir Putin has merely humiliated 2 U.S. presidents in a row. Now he has a third U.S. president who he believes he can manipulate. And if, you know, God knows, I want Trump to be a success. I want America to be a success. But Putin is our enemy.
As you point out, 2 U.S. presidents sort of felt the same way, that they could make nice and, as George W. Bush say, see into the soul of Vladimir Putin. That didn't work out so well for any of them, or Barack Obama's reset. Colonel Peters, appreciate your time, sir. Always a good chat.
Thank you, Leland.
Thanks.